Down there in Parliament, Grant Shapps is trying to introduce a law which will bring the unions under some degree of state control, which will eliminate the fundamental right to take strike action for many people and will result in sanctions against the unions. We have been here before. The Heath government in 1970 tried the same thing. They tried sequestration of union funds. They tried sanctions against individual union officials. And do you know what happened? Massive strike action all over the country. The Pentonville Five were released. That government was defeated, and in its place we defeated that anti-union legislation, and we got instead a fairer system, and we also got the Health and Safety and Welfare at Work Act. Taking strike action is always difficult. There's always hardship. There's always problems involved. But at the end of the day, it's our strength and our unity that brings about a win. And there's been heroic strikes. You think of James Connolly and Larkin leading the strikes in Dublin before the First World War. You go forward to the bitterness of the general strike and many others. But fundamentally, when you take strike action, yes, it is about wages. Yes, it is about conditions. Yes, it is about 12 years of austerity and falling living standards, and we're working class communities getting poorer and poorer. It's also about food banks. It's also about stressed out children in school not being fed properly, overstressed teachers finding it difficult to teach them. Do you know what? It's quite hard to learn if you're hungry. It's quite difficult to teach if you're overstressed. It's quite difficult to run a ward if you haven't got enough staff on it and you're a nurse that's under unbelievable levels of stress. And when the employers, as they always do, ask for what they call reforms of working practices, what are they on about? Driver-only trains. What are they on about? Postal workers owning a van and delivering as if they were doing it with Amazon. What are they doing in the health service other than privatising, contracting out and undermining the very principles of our health service? And so our dispute and our strike action today is yes against that legislation, but it's also in support of all those that are taking strike action. But it's also for the kind of world and kind of society we want to live in. So when we march down the road with our friends, the teachers, the nurses, the railway workers, the civil servants and the postal workers, we're also marching for those that are hungry, those that are in mental health stress, and we're marching for the next generation. I don't want our young people brought up stressed from school, in debt from college, and underfunded that they can't properly pay rent in the private rented sector. This country can afford an awful lot of things, but we cannot afford this disgusting levels of inequality, tax avoidance and tax evasion at the top, sanctions at the other end. And we are going to get a lot of stick from a lot of very wealthy proprietors of some very important news channels and publications. It's our job to put up an alternative. It's our job to communicate with each other. It's our job to inspire each other into the kind of world we want to live in. And you know what? They stood up against the dictators in Brazil and other places, and they defeated them. We will stand for economic and social justice here and around the world, and in our unity of our multicultural union movement, our multicultural society, we will inspire the next generation to work with us. To everyone out there who's not a union, join one. To everyone who is in a union, be active. Solidarity, support, and thank you.